Welcome everybody to another edition of WCW 2004 here in TEW 2020, and it's a night after Halloween Havoc, a night where we had a lot of big changes happening, including a new world champion in Shane Helms, Chuck Palumbo turning on his longtime friend and brother-in-arms Sean O'Hare, and lots of other stuff going on. And tonight we've got the beginning of the Mayhem Tournament. But before that happens, to start the show off, we hear a motorcycle revving, and out comes Chuck Palumbo to a big old heel pop. As he comes down, he parks the motorcycle, and we see that he has a woman with long brunette hair, or black hair, behind him on the motorcycle, and she comes down with him, gives him a long kiss on top of the ramp, and then they walk down to the ring together, as the announcers are confused who she is, but, they put over, the actions of Palumbo last night by the replay to see more. As he comes down to the ring, he takes the mic and says, "For years, Sean and O'Hare have been brothers, rising up in this business together, side by side, no matter what. But in the last month, I was riding around America on my own, and I met this woman, and we got together, and she told me the truth. She showed me the truth about what was happening for the past 2+ years in WCW. She told me the truth of what I should be doing, because she's a true fan of mine, not somebody who expects me to be somebody's sidekick forever and ever. Because let's look at the reality. Way back last year, at the start of last year, 2003, Wrestle War, I get the title shot, and I get a chance in cage heat, and I get screwed out of it due to the chaos of the match. Then I'm helping O'Hare against the Horseman. I'm feuding with that SOB Helms. And then I finally get a title shot against Vampiro at Clash of the Champions. And his cronies take me out. And Sean O'Hare helps me out eventually. But I'm gone for months. But I eventually come back and I go after the legend, the GOAT, Ric Flair. And I beat him twice. But what do I get out of it? Almost nothing. I get thrown in cage heat again. And I get screwed over again. Then I'm helping Sean O'Hare out and getting taken out by Deadpool again. Months upon months of dealing with those freaks and getting absolutely nothing out of it. But I come back and I fight and I rise to the top once again. I'm this close to getting the number one contendership last night. One more time. And I get screwed out of it one more time. Every time I come close, I'm helping you out, Sean. And you're never helping me out, because you're always busy with your own thing. And I was always expected to help you out, but you never came and helped me out. And sure, you said you were sorry, and you said you'd always be my side, but I was always expected to be the man running in, helping the new golden boy, and nobody was helping me out. So last night, one more damn time, I was expected to bail you out, Sean, because Helms Legacy got involved. No, because it's my time now. It's time to prove I'm the baddest thing running in WCW. And there's just nobody who can stop me when I'm not stuck being your sidekick. And this woman right here helped me prove that, and she's going to be by my side as I ride to the top. And I don't care if you damn fans hate me for it. I'm doing what's best for me now. What's best to help my career in this business, not to appease you fans, any in the back, or any of my supposed friends. Boo, like big old heel pop. This gets an 83. I might have accidentally rated Raven right here. And for you know, that's Bonnie Maxon, aka Rain from Women of Wrestling. She had a run in TNA, I think, but she was in my dev fed. She worked with Palumbo, so there you go. But yeah, this gets an 83. I think, again, either because I put O'Hare on overness, but he's actually pretty over, so that doesn't make sense. I don't know. Regardless, this was also a long promo, so that probably hurt it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I expected, Palumbo walks back up to the ramp, pays in the booze, gets back on his motorcycle, and rides away. And then we get a graphic, courtesy of WCW.com, some highlights of Halloween Havoc, including, Palumbo running in, Rey Mysterio Jr. defeating Eddie Guerrero once again, Trisha Sky defeating Angel Fox, and Showdown with Lizzie Dumas, and Goldberg getting sent through the Turnotron, or what, the WCW-tron, and the announcers put over that as a result of what happened, Eric Bischoff has suspended Monty Brown for 30 days. And Bo Goldberg is currently, getting help for the injuries he suffered as a result of the attack by Monty Brown. And this little graphic, this little 2-minute recap, I believe it was, gives a 74. And then we go to the tournament brackets, putting over the Mayhem Tournament. As, put over tonight, we'll see 4 big matches in the Mayhem Tournament, 4 more in Revolution, as the Mayhem Tournament starts. And now it's time for our opening match in that Mayhem Tournament. That opening match is 2 people trying to rise up. Of course, Paul London lost the United States title last night to Jonathan Toro, but simply Johnny Devine is, of course, part of the chosen few, and he's looking to, get up to the top in this business as well. And they have just a back and forth high flying match as you expect between these two. London does his high flying stuff. Devine does a little bit of heel cruiserweight work, but also mostly just does some flying around. Lots of big moves. There's a plancha, there's a tope, there's a side moonsault, there's some wacky some wacky moves. But in the end, Paul London is a former US champion, and he may have lost last night, but he's still one of the best young wrestlers in the world, and he's able to gain advantage, and then hit the London calling in about 8 minutes to win the match. And I have graphics for this because, I already made them for the preview, so why not use them during the actual show, or during the actual shows here. So in a decent match, Paul London defeats Simply Johnny Devine at 8:08 by pinfall for London calling. This gets an 80. Paul London gets an 80. Simply Johnny Devine gets a 63. A big win for Paul London as we move forward here in the match. And he moves on to the second round. He will face either Jeff Jarrett or Ken Anderson. He will face either Jeff Jarrett or Ken Anderson, depending who wins at Revolution in a couple days. And of course, you'll see that in just a little bit here. And of course, after the match, Mark Jindrak of the Chosen Few tries to run in to do an attack on a beatdown, to soften Paul London up for Jeff Jarrett, since, of course, the Chosen Few assume they'll get the win. But he escapes through the crowd as the crowd pops, as this gets a 72. Then moving forward, we go backstage where Jeremy Borash is with Trisha Sky, as Borash puts over his big win, her big win against Angel Fox, and puts over that these officials have made the match, and at Mayhem is going to be Trisha Sky versus Lizzie Dumas. And Trisha says, she's happy that WCW officials have finally stopped appeasing Lizzie Dumas' whining, and at Mayhem, she's going to prove she's the best woman in this business, and she's going to close the door on her long feud with Lizzie that has gone all over the world, both here in WCW and up north. But they're going to finally get a shot to face off one-on-one with no other BS. And at Mayhem, she's going to prove that the sky's the limit for her here in WCW, and she's going to move on away from Lizzie on to bigger and better things. 74, solid promo as we move forward. Forward as I try to find, there it is, okay. Sorry. And that, we then move on to our next Mayhem Tournament match, as it's Rob Van Dam versus Ray LePen, as the International Incident faces off against Miss RVD, who of course got a big win over Jeff Jarrett to earn the next earn a title shot in the future. And this honestly is just kind of a straightforward squash. LePen gets a little bit of offense in, gets a little bit of heel offense right in the middle of the match. But in about 5 minutes, RV takes over, hits a spin kick, hits Rolling Thunder, goes up top, hits the 5-star frog splash, and gets the pretty easy, straightforward pinfall here, victory here to move on to the second round as the crowd pops. And, RVD looks like RVD. And overall, this gets a 70 as, like I said, 453. He defeats Ray LePen. LePen will get a shot here eventually, but, he's sort of a low man on the totem pole at the moment. But overall, this gets a 70. RVD gets an 88. Ray LePen gets a 43. And RVD looked good out there. And post-match, he celebrates to a 67 as the announcers put over. He has to be one of the favorites here in the Mayhem Tournament. And what will that mean if he wins the tournament and has an extra title shot on top of his guaranteed title shot? And next up, we get a quick fun little segment backstage as the cat, Ernest Miller, is now taking bets. We see like a bunch of names in the Mayhem Tournament, basically with odds, and we see various people coming up and giving Miller some money or being given money. We see Corey coming up and getting a payout for facing, getting a payout for backing Paul London, and then she gives him some money to put on both Chavo, Ray, and Alex Wright. Arn comes up and says, I always got to back a former horseman, and put some money on Kanyon. Hector Guerrero says, they're both family, so I both got to help them out, as Hector Guerrero then puts some money on Eddie and Chavo. Chris Harris says, if they would have given one of the Americans one on the shot, we would have ran through. But until then, here's the money on who I'm going to win, who we don't see who's going to win. Then Teddy Hart says, well, I wish I could back a Canadian, but the only Canadians in the tournament is an asshole. So let me back up my main man, RVD. As he hands over some money, and see Ray comes over and says, you fruity booty, and I'm going to back up Booker T. Only because the man, Monty Brown, is not in the tournament, because he would have ran through it. So he hands over some money, and he says, Sucka, Booker T is going to win this tournament, and there's nothing you can do about it. So there's a fun little segment of various backstage characters betting on the tournament. This gets a 54, because these guys are super over, but what can you do, And after that, we have a fun little match as part of the women's division, as in a four-way match. In a decent match, Jordan Cole defeats Roni Jonah, Nikita Colt, and Lexi James in 541 when Jordan Cole pinned Lexi James. This is just basically 5 minutes of chaos of all four women going after each other. Colt trying to get women submissions, Lexi doing some brawling, Cole pinning some big moves, Roni just largely getting beat up and doing the underdog thing, but fighting back. But eventually, Cole is actually able to hit a crucifix roll-ups on Lexi James and get the big 1, 2, 3, and a big victory as the Andros put over. As this gets a 67, which is shockingly good. Let's see here. Roni Jonah gets a 53. Jordan Cole gets a 52, which is interesting because Cole's way more over. Nikita Cole gets a 69, and Lexi James gets a 58. Oh, I forgot this is in the Southwest, so the overness will be by. So yeah, okay, that explains why, because Roni is actually as over as the other woman, because we're in the Southwest in Utah, which is weird. It's in the Southwest, not in the Midwest, but that's TEW for you. So these women are in theory actually over in the Southwest. I totally forgot about that. Anyway, but a big win for Roni Jonah, or Lexi, or for Jordan Cole rather. And as she's celebrating and actually put over, this may put her in track for a title shot, Joanie Laurer comes out and she just wrecks everybody. She just comes in and she Roni Jonah is slowly getting up on the outside, and Joanie just throws her into the guardrail. She comes in, boots Jordan Cole down. Nikita Cole is getting up and basically goes to congratulate her, and to prove that Joanie's a woman basically on her own island. She's not friends with the other heels. She just tosses Nikita Cole around. She grabs Cole again, and she gets up and hits her with a big choke slam and lays her out, and then walks away, basically yelling into the ringside camera, nobody's worthy of a title shot. I am a step above everybody in this division. I am women's wrestling, WCW. So this gets an 84, is basically Joanie saying, nobody deserves a title shot because she's beat everybody who matters in this division. Then we cut backstage where Prince Jose comes in, basically the backstage, locker room. I can't believe I just lost that word for a minute. Anyway, he, comes in and he says, look, look, Germans are great businessmen. I have made many deals with them in Ghana as part of my princely duties. So, outright, accept these many, many, many Ghanaian million dollars. And when it comes over a match, just lay down. Accept. Otherwise, I do not want to beat you up. We are both honorable men. Alex Wright, of course, says, no, I'm going to kick your ass, and there's nothing you can do about it. No, Sage simply shrugs and says, why are there no reasonable men in this company? As he walks away, and he walks out, he basically bumps into Jamie Noble. They sort of look at each other for a moment. Then Noble comes in and says, look, I'm not here to start a fight. Me and MD, we could, of course, kick your ass. Because, look, the losers lost tag titles last night. Well, I won. But, Chavo, we both want to face off against your uncle in the next round for our own reasons. But just accept, I can actually beat your uncle. I beat him before, and I can beat your ass. And if you happen to get lucky and beat me, Uncle Eddie will just kick your ass like he kicked your ass before. So, just take it like a man, tap out, and just let me do your work for you. Because, of course, I beat Eddie Guerrero any method. Chavo says, Noble, get out of my face. You only got lucky last night against a guy like AJ, who's going to be at the top of this business while you're still whining about everything. And look, yeah, beating my uncle is going to be tough. But I know with the fans behind me, I can beat him, and I can sure as hell beat your ass. With a little stare down before he walks away, like sort of snickering as he walks to he walks out of the locker room, and Alex looks over at Chavo and says, "Why are there no locks on the door?" Chavo shrugs as he moves forward, as this gets a 71, and a fun little backstage agent putting over the various little tournament pods as we move forward. And we have Brother Ray coming out, and he says, if you looked online, you saw that, of course, the man who I was supposed to face tonight has walked out of the company. He's not here. So, but I still want to face somebody tonight to earn my win in the second round. So get somebody to get down here ready for a beating. And after a moment, Sean Stagiac comes. Okay. So yeah, I'm out of character. So, booking backstage, of course, Air Parrish was originally supposed to be part of here, but he walked out. Like, he basically sat as his contract because he didn't want to do a random job to a cruiserweight. So yeah, I let him go because there's no point having him around. But he was already part of the tournament. But since nobody picked him to advance, I figured it was no loss not to change it. So yeah, it's Brother Ray versus Sean Stagiac in the next round, and there's no graphic for it. So, but Brother Ray kills Sean Stagiac in 4 minutes with the full Nelson bomb. This gets a 57. Not the best match, unfortunately, but it's Brother Ray and Sean Stagiac. Sean Stagiac has been basically a total chopper, and sort of like a guy I sort of feel bad because I've just totally lost. He was in the Natural Born Thrillers, and he was teamed up with Jindrak for a bit, but Jindrak moved on to bigger and better things, and he's just sort of been stuck in no man's land. But yeah, this gets a 76. Sean Stagiac gets a 52. Overall 57. And yeah, just a complete total. Stagiac did a little bit of brawling. As I said, this is a wild brawl, but in the end, Brother Ray takes over, throws him around. I imagine him take Brother Ray tossing just brawling with Stagiac, tossing him over the ringside table, bringing him back in, hitting a big power slam, full Nelson bomb. 1, 2, 3, and advancing. And then he cuts a quick promo into the camera saying, "That's one down, and all the way to Mayhem, and prove it's time for WCW to go to the extreme." Testify. As a little shout out to his, half brother, as this gets a 67, and we move forward to a quick backstage promo where Ken Anderson says, nobody's giving me a shot against Jeff Jarrett at Revolution. And, the odds are against me. I know that. Hell, I've seen the board with the cat backstage, and nobody's putting any money on me. And that's okay. Because I'm the underdog, and I'm fine with that. But I'm going to prove that it's not it's not how big of a star you are. It's it's the size of the dog in the fight. And in a couple days, Jeff Jarrett, you can call me Slapnuts, you can swing your guitar around, but you're going to be getting pinned 1, 2, 3. I'm going to be having the biggest upset in the tournament. So Greg Promo putting over the Revolution match between him and Jeff Jarrett, the first round match, as we move forward to, I believe, our next actual match. Sorry about that. First, we have a quick little video package of Kidman and Malenko's history here in WCW, clips of their various matches against each other, during the Nitro Cruiserweight era, and putting over their sort of divergent paths. Since Malenko left, his comeback, winning the WCW TV title, and Kidman being Kidman, the heel prick he's been for the past couple months. And then now it's time for our big match: Billy Kidman versus Demolenko. Oops, sorry about that. That was the last thing. So yeah, it's Billy Kidman versus Demolenko, and this was an absolute this was only 10 minutes. I had him go all out, and I had him call the match, but unfortunately, like, Demolenko can't go 12 minutes anymore. Dean's kind of old, but 10 minutes? 10 minutes, Dean can be can still go. As these guys just like basically go through their greatest. Lots of chain wrestling, standoff between them two, like a little nod, even though like Kidman is a heel and Malenko's a face. They go back together, fight each other. Like there's actually no outside involvement at all in this match. Like Kidman actually hits a Frankensteiner for the first time in a while. Malenko hits the big gut buster for near fall, goes for the clover leaf. Kidman gets out of it, kicks Malenko into the corner. There's some, more, swinging EDTs, German suplexes, reversals, takedowns. But in the end, Billy Kidman has proven himself to be one of the best wrestlers in WCW, and he continues to prove that as he hits the win here in about 10 minutes, hitting Kid Crusher clean right in the middle of the ring for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Kidman gets the win in 10 minutes and 1 second. 87, which is like, I was expecting like 80s just because Kidman's really over and Malenko's like still pretty good, as long as he doesn't have to go long. But this is shockingly good for me. And yeah, I had to steal the show. I had him call in the ring, which I guess probably helped. But a big win for Billy Kidman, and he moves forward as Kidman celebrates along with April to a 69 and move forward. Then we have a fun little thing here as we go backstage, and this is like basically put like footage from last night, and basically we see the Roman Empire all clad in togas, Toro with the U.S. title, Swinger and Romeo. We see Elizabeth Caneos also in a toga, and we see two random women who people may see. It's Tailing Buck, the former Major Guns, and SoCal Val, who's just entering the business, and they're also in toga feeding Swinger and Romeo grapes. And there's a bunch of other like random people. As this is sort of like a club that's been turned into a Roman bacchanal for the Toro celebration. As Toro puts over, this is not, they may call this the U.S. Championship, but this is proving of my worthiness as a leader of the Roman Empire, and I will defend this title to prove as I bring the Roman Empire to its greatest glory once again, rising to the top and pushing our influence all over America and all over the world. It is time for the return of the Roman Empire once again. And then they continue the party, and there we go. So this gets to 47, which I sort of expected it wouldn't be that great, but I just wanted to do a goofy segment. And yeah, again, Elizabetha has like a couple weeks on her contract, so this might be her last appearance, might not, depending on what I do. And these two are just local workers brought in as sort of to be the the background good-looking woman, because it is still 2004. As we move forward. Then we have a tournament bracket update, basically saying, it'll be Brother Ray versus the winner of the Mike Awesome Ron Simmons match. It'll be Billy Kidman versus the winner of the Kanyon Kaz match. RVD versus the winner of the Jeff Hardy Tank Tolan match. And Paul London versus the winner of the Jeff Jarrett Ken Anderson match. As this gets a little 70, as it's just like basically a graphic, as I'm just putting it for things. Then I believe it's time for our main event. Yeah, okay. So this, ouch. Was this, what hurt here? Hold on. Sorry, just to go over, let's see here. It was really over. Poor gimmick, no morale, whatever. Okay, sorry, I'm just looking over things. So I'm actually kind of shocked how not great this was. Anyway, so this was basically like announced as part of the show. There's no graphic, but this is just basically a Mayhem Tournament preview, aka a way to put all 6 of our top people, 6 of our better wrestlers, all in a single match, with no real story behind it, and it is sort of what you expect. Unfortunately, not as good as I expected. Let me see here. So we got 6. Yeah, this should have been. I guess. I guess the tournament was. Okay. Sorry, I'm just looking this over, and I'm sort of surprised it was this bad. And I mean, I know that one storyline had some low-key just because it was just started, but I didn't expect to be turned that much. Sorry, that's unfortunate. And Scott Hudson also isn't great, but I don't think he probably dinged it, because this should have been just looking at the average, a 90. But yeah, oh well, shit happened. What can you do? Not the end of the world or anything. I'm not that upset anyway. So anyway, this is just honestly, if you remember, actually in this era, in the mid 2000s, there's always those great Raw 6-mans where it was basically members of the Evolution versus 3 random baby faces, and there was always good or great matches. That's this match. It's it's Booker T doing Booker T stuff, Eddie being a sneaky little Eddie, Jeff Jarrett, being a brawling Southern heel, Rey Mysterio Jr. flying around, Kanyon, doing his US Pro style, Jeff Hardy taking some wild bumps. But again, things break down, and Booker T is able to get the win over Kanyon with the bookend in about 17 minutes with the bookend, as this gets an 83. Ray gets a 92, Kanyon gets a 93, Jeff Hardy gets an 89, Jarrett gets a 92, Eddie gets a 91, and Booker T gets an 84. Which actually, let me just see here, okay. Ray, Booker, Eddie, Jeff. Okay. So low morale for Jeff, poor gimmick for Ray, announcing work with Scott Hudson, low key. Okay, I guess that would maybe ding at 7 points, but I'm kind of shocked by that. Anyway. These guys just continue to fight afterwards as the entrance, put over. Any of these 6 men could be the winner of the Mayhem Tournament and walk out of Mayhem with a guaranteed title shot of their choosing at any time. As this gets an 86. But of course, even though this is the main event wrestling part, this is not the end of the show. As after, everybody gets sent to the back, Personal Jesus by Marilyn Manson starts up, and out comes your new WCW World Champion, Shane Helms. And of course, it's just a stupidly big heel pop. Of course, the crowd is upset over, O'Hare losing the title and losing in such a crappy way. And he comes down to ringside along with the rest of Helms Legacy, basking in the heel. And he says, of course, I'm here. I finally come to the promised land. After being stuck in the joke that was 3 count, the dead zone of the Cruiserweight division, and after going after legend to prove myself, it all came down to last night. I proved I could become world champion at any time in the past couple of years if forces weren't assembled against me and the rest of the Helms Legacy. At Halloween Havoc, I proved that I'm the future of professional wrestling. Not Sean O'Hare. The future shock was me the whole damn time. Tonight was only night 1 of a long, glorious reign that was written in the history of this business for years, no, decades, no, centuries, as the man who brought WCW to its greatest heights. Boo! Big heel pop for that rant, and then walk, big pop as Rob Van Dam comes out with a mic at the top of the ring and says, Shane, that's cool and all, but you're forgetting one thing, Shane. RVD beat that guitar swinging asshole last night, and that means I've earned a title shot. And I already talked to the championship committee and Bischoff, and we determined there was only one time, only one place for me to get a title shot. That's when Starrcade goes to the extreme in Philadelphia. Big pop for that, sort of mixed because, we don't get a title shot, but, it's still a big pay-per-view match. And Shane's like, fine, you got 2 months to think you actually have a shot, Van Dam. And in 2 months, I'll super kick your teeth down your throat and prove why I'm the greatest United States champion of all time, and I will prove myself to be the greatest world champion of all time. And Van Dam fires back, no, dude, it means you got 2 months or less to get that world title belt around your waist until the whole fucking show. Bleep crashes your world around you and reminds you why I was the hottest free agent in the business multiple times and why I've been successful in this place from day freaking 1, man. Helms fires back and says, look, you can talk all you want, but at the end of the day, you're a chump, another extreme refugee who's been lucky a few times, but every time you had a real opportunity, you failed and tried to make others escape it when you're just not good enough, Van Dam. See, I won my world title match, unlike you, and at Starrcade, it'd just be another supposed legend added to my list. After all, yes, we fought before, but you only beat me because of a freak injury I got, and I'm happy to prove myself once again when I send you onto a nightmare on Helm Street. Van Dam fires back and says, I proved myself before every place I've been in this business, and if you think that was luck, that's cool. But what you'll be hearing at Starrcade in Philadelphia is a new world champion crowd, and his name being Rob Van Dam. As he points to himself, and there's a stare down, and the entrance put over, this is a huge match, and we will actually rebook it in. Shane Helms, Rob Van Dam, world title. There you go. And yeah, this gets a 97, and the show overall gets a 88. So, okay. Basically, the main of, like, the Kidman Malenko match and the main event segment basically sort of save things. I'm still kind of disappointed, like, that main event, the actual main event screwed over things, but, what can you do? Shit happens. Anyway, let's move on to see if there's any interesting mail, and then it'll be time for Revolution. As this continues to load, fun times. Alright, so let's see what Raw did. First email, let's see. Oh, Jamie Noble thinks Emery is a natural talker, which actually is kind of true. Let's see here. Raw. So Raw had TNA defeating Saturn and Al Snow. That was a 68. Molly Holly defeating Cherry Slice. Winrigo winning a random squash, which was an 86. Undertaker winning a random squash, which was a 90. The Gaza Bruja, which is Kane, Leviathan, and Vampiro, defeating Christian and Bump and Grind in 80. Triple H defeating Randy Orton in random 95. And Shawn Michaels and Edge defeating Kurt Angle, Billy Gunn, and of course random 100, because of course it was. They only got 7,400 people because they were in Hawaii. But yeah, fun stuff. So yeah, if we actually look at the tournament, yeah, Randy Nam to be cited, Billy Kidman versus to be cited. Wait, what? Hold on. And oh right, okay, yeah, I have to actually force. Actually, let me do that. I should have done that. Anyway, so yeah, and also Brother Rays is also in the second round. So I'll be back in just a moment with Revolution. And now it's time for Revolution, live from the Cotillion, I guess, what it's called in Wichita, Kansas, which again, it's considered the Mid-South, which really could be considered part of the Midwest, but again, TEW stuff, not going to complain too bad about. Anyway, the show starts out, once again, with your new WCW World Champion, Shane Helms, coming out, and I don't think he cuts basically the same promo as last time, but he sort of cuts the same promo as last time. RVD comes out and basically does the same comebacks as last time, give or take, just sort of continuing to put over the things that, like, it's Helms versus RVD at Starrcade in Philadelphia, Starrcade going to the Extreme, Mr. Monday Night, Rob Van Dam, biggest free agents, Helms being the legend killer, and he's going to kill the legend of Extreme right in the home of the Barbed Wire City. And they basically just fire back shots together, when eventually, RVD points out, look, Shane, it's true. I get the title shot at Starrcade. But that doesn't mean you're getting all the way to Starrcade without defending your title. Helms is like, this isn't news to me, but I have an idea. A lot of people are going to be busy fighting in the Mayhem Tournament for the next month. So you may think you're going to get off without a free shot without defending your title. But that's not true, because you see, I found a partner who's ready to take you guys on in a tag match next week with a partner of your choice. And if we win, they get a title shot, even though they're part of the Mayhem Tournament, and they're willing to take it to the limit, because he's just that off the rails and that crazy. It's like, fine, if somebody wants to be dumb enough to continue the tournament and then think they can get a victory next week, so be it. So who's the man who's willing to team with you, RVD? Out comes Jeff Hardy to a big pop, and next week on Nitro, it's going to be Shane Helms, a partner of his choice, probably member of the Halloween Legacy, but maybe not. Who knows? Versus RVD and Jeff Hardy, or if RVD and Hardy wins, Jeff Hardy gets a title shot at Mayhem, regardless of his participants in the Mayhem Tournament. Now you think I'm not silly enough to put Jeff Hardy in the finals and also give him a world title shot? I mean, he is pretty damn over, so there you go. Regardless, let's get rolling with our opening. So that sets up things up. I think it's a 97, and just build that up, and builds up that Helms will be defending his title at Mayhem regardless. And then we put over the tournament brackets tonight, which includes going to be a big match of Booker T versus Sandman, Mike Awesome versus Ron Simmons, Jeff Jarrett versus Ken Anderson, is put over on Nitro, and in the main event, Kanyon versus Cass. That gets to 74, and then it's time for our main and it's time for our first match in the tournament tonight. And that match is Mike Awesome versus Ron Simmons, and Simmons is another guy who, honestly, I sort of haven't been able to put time getting over. Like, I signed him up in any sort of stuff in backstage for most of the time because he just hasn't, like, there's not enough time to get him over. So he sort of, this is a match I would have liked to have sort of be bigger because, like, Simmons is a former world champion and the announcers put over that, and Mike Awesome, of course, is a former ECW world champion, even though we'll just, like, say he was a former, king of extreme in the Barbed Wire City. And so, but this is a fun little 6-minute brawl as they just beat the crap out of each other, as you expect between these two, as, they just, beat the punches, kicks, brawling. But eventually Awesome takes advantage because he's younger, he's a little quicker, and he's just a little more evil. And he's able to get the Awesome Bomb right in the middle of the ring to get the 1-2-3 victory in the tournament and move on to the second round, as he'll now face off against Brother Ray. As this gets a 70, as Awesome gets an 85. He's an Awesome, somebody who, honestly, like, he still is a steroid user. He still, I think, has, like, drug user tech. So he's always could, like, basically, like, fail a test or just be, basically do druggy things. So I can't push him as a top guy, but he's really over. He's really good in the ring still. And yeah, I mean, he'll probably be a decent part of the roster for a while. Anyway, he gets a win here. And of course, Lance Storm comes out for a beatdown on Simmons, but Brother Ray comes down to make the save. And, like, basically, like, there's no actual fighting. There's just a stare down between Brother Ray and Awesome after Brother Ray helps Simmons up. As, there's a big stare down, as, there's a big battle of former members of the Barbed Wire City at the second round of the Mayhem Tournament, as this gets an 83, and we move forward. And then we go backstage, where Harris, Jeremy Borash, is with America's Most Wanted, and they have a big tag match against Hart Legacy, and they say, there are things that matter outside of the Mayhem Tournament, and part of that is the tag team division. And tonight we're going to prove that we deserve to be at the top of the tag team division. We don't care who we have to face for those titles. It's those spooky weirdos at the moment, but we'll take on anyone because we think we're the best tag team in this business. And if you get in our way, sorry about your damn luck. As this gets a 65 and move forward. And then we have a fun little in-ring as Booker T comes up to the ring to a big heel pop as he's with Charmel, and he says, "That's right, I'm back, suckers, and I'm in the Mayhem Tournament. In a couple of minutes, you're going to see me beat the ass of some guy named Sandman. Who the hell's name is Sandman? What kind of crazy SOB calls himself Sandman, walks around with a cane, busts behind his head, and thinks they can get a victory against the six-time world champion Booker T. So get your ass out here and get ready for a beatdown." Can you dig that? Now comes Sandman, and he just comes down and he just runs around swinging his Sigmore cane wildly as Booker T and Stormell basically down out of the ring, and the match is on as this gets an 83 to set up our next match. And I totally forgot to take this off the screen. Sorry, guys. My bad. So yeah, Booker T, Stormell, there you go. This gets an 83. The promo got a 65. Sorry, I forgot to turn that off. Anyway, be back in just a moment with the actual match. Oh. So yeah, the next match is Booker versus Sandman, and it's unfortunately not great. The problem here is they don't click, but also the problem here is it's Booker T versus Sandman in 2004. Booker T is still solid, but Sandman is Sandman, and Sandman's not that over at the moment. So yeah, this is just I imagine it's just a very clunky match, Sandman doing Sandman stuff, Booker trying to get his crap in, and in the end, after 6 minutes, Booker just gets the win. It says with Hart and Hangover, but this is just with the bookend. Nothing fancies here. Booker gets the win, and just a solid win for Booker here. As we leave this here. So yeah. Also I guess you guys didn't see the thing. So yeah. So the match itself got I'll go over the matches, but anyway. The Awesome Cinnamon in the match got a 70, like I said. The sort of aftermath got an 83, and then this got a 61. So yeah, Booker gets a 69, Sandman gets a 31 because they don't click. And yeah, this is just unfortunately, what can you do? It's Booker, it's Sandman in 2004. You're not going to get a 10 out of this, even if they didn't click. And move forward as Booker T and Charmel then celebrate to a 73 as we move forward. And then we go backstage. Whoops. Where, oh shit, this should be the cat, not. Pretend that's a cat. Eric Ernest, oh well. Well, this probably actually helps the ratings, as this is just another fun slick backstage statement. Let's pretend the cat is off stage, and as Eric Bischoff, walks by, and the cat says, do you want to bet? And Eric says, controversy creates cash, but I'm not going to let anybody think I'm not going to let anybody think I affect the results by my bets, but you have your fun. As Bischoff walks away, then Dawn Marie comes over, pulls out some money out from her bra because it's 2004, and puts some money on her guy Tank Tolan. Terry Taylor comes over, puts some money on somebody. Roy LePen says, it is unfortunate that the international incident is not moving forward, but he has his money putting it on Keaton Sharp. Swinging Pompeius, of course, puts some money on for the future Roman Emperor, Jonathan Toro, and Skipper says he's a cruiserweight champion, and he could walk that tournament, but as cruiserweight champion, he's not part of it, but he's going to put his money on another cruiserweight Kidman. As this gets a 54, as it's just a little fun little backstage segment. And move forward, where we got Lizzie with the heels backstage, as it's just a quick 2-minute promo, as they put over, Trisha, it's true. You finally get your shot at me. But I'm going to prove what I proved a lot up north. I'll prove here in the middle of the ring without any other distractions that I was always the better wrestler, and you always had your own advantages that you pushed. But I should have been at the top of the women's division, and I'll prove myself to be at the top of the women's division when at Mayhem I kick your ass, and I prove that you're always just a blonde bimbo given a shot because of her looks, not of her talent. And me and these other women, will prove that we should dominate the women's division no matter what. Just solid heel promo, putting over the match versus your friend and mine, Trisha Sky, at the pay-per-view. And moving forward to a women's tag match. Ooh, I should have broken up the women's segments. Oh well, shit happens. Anyway, this is a match between Ronnie Jonah and Natty Hart and European Disunion. As this is a back and forth match, it looks like but Rona and Lucina are sort of just breaking apart the two, baby faces. But Natty makes a babyface comeback. Things break down. Roni actually hits a big sort of stage dive onto Nikita Colt in the ringside area, and that distracts Lucina just enough for Natty Days basically comes from behind, hit a small package rolling reverse cradle, and lock it in and get the 1-2-3 upset victory over European Disunion in 6:37. As this gets a 56, Natty gets a 35, Roni gets a 38, Lucina Pisa gets a 53, and Nikita Colt gets a 61. And post-match, European Disunion make the attack to sort of get their heat back, but after a couple minutes, Jordan Cole and Celine Cartier come out to make the save and run off European Disunion to the cheers the crowd as this gets a 58, and the crowd cheers as the two, Jordan and Selena, help the younger woman up as the crowd pops as this gets a 58, and we move forward. And now I believe, it is time for Macias and Morningstar in the Graveyard of Souls. Backstage, spooky, darkness, fog, all that fun stuff. As Macias is standing with both tag team belts on his shoulder, as Morningstar says, "We warned you all. We warned you all. The message was correct, and we would take over the tag team division. We were correct, and now it is our time to rule. You see, we don't care what Bischoff wants. We don't care what the championship committee wants. We will decide who we defend against. We will decide who we face because we are Deadpool, and the message is always correct, and we will defend these titles against who the message says and not against anybody else. So put your warriors against us, and they will fall like all the rest because we dominated everywhere we have been in WCW. We took apart the former world champion, and we cast aside those who were not worthy anymore. And we will cast aside more who were not worthy in front of us. And we will rule this tag division for as long as we want. And there's nothing you can do there's nothing you can do but accept the darkness." 90 good promo as we move forward to our next match in the tournament. But really solid promo here as really putting over them as the king of the tag division. And then nobody can stop him because, well, look at it. And next up is another big match in the Mayhem Tournament, as it's Jeff Jarrett versus Ken Anderson. And this is a very underdog style match, as Jarrett dominates early, but Ken Anderson fights back, and he fights back with his own brawling, his own power moves, and he's doing shockingly well, actually dominating a bit, hitting a few big clothesline, power slam, hanging suplex, and it looks like he's going to hit the Kenton bomb, but Jarrett is able to sort of elbow out of it, poke him in the eye, take advantage, hit the stroke, 1, 2, 3. But Ken Anderson looks really good here despite taking the loss. And overall, the match is better than I expected, as it gets a 77. Jarrett gets an 89 because he's fucking great. Ken Anderson still gets a 52. And yeah, I said this was going to be longer than the other sort of honestly, sort of Duke versus Directional State sort of games in the NCAA tournament, because Anderson looks like a strong baby face, and Jarrett doesn't have to cheat to win because he gets the clean victory, but he still has to does a little bit of treachery, elbows, eye poke, taking advantage, hitting the stroke, but still barely getting the win. As this gets a 77, Jarrett looks like gets an 89, and Anderson gets a 52 as Jarrett moves on in the tournament. And then post match, of course, because they're heels, the Chosen Few come out to do a beatdown, but after a minute, first Paul London and then AJ Styles, with the Iron put over as winning Mark Jindrak's opponent in the Mayhem Tournament, come out to make a save and run off both Jindrak and Devine, before London finishes things off by hitting a big flip dive on Jarrett and standing tall as the Chosen Few scamper back to backstage, and then London and AJ help Ken Anderson up as the Andrews put over. These three men could be the future of WCW, as this gets an 84 and move forward to our next big match. But no, first we have a fun little backstage statement, which gets an 83, as basically Ray, Chavo, and Alex all put over their matches in the Mayhem Tournament. Ray says he's faced Tor before, and he can talk about Roman Empire, but Ray Jr. Has the blood of the has the his Aztec ancestors pouring through him, and they were warriors too. So if he wants to talk about empires, well, the Aztecs did pretty well, and in the Mayhem Tournament to move on, and then maybe he'll even take the U.S. title. Chavo says, people say even if I beat Jamie Noble, I don't got a chance to get Eddie because I'd never beat him. Well, everything can change in a moment. And Noble, AJ Styles will almost beat you. I can beat you. And then Uncle Eddie, I'm not afraid of you. Alex Wright says, I'm happy to face anybody in the tournament. I'm happy to fight anybody and prove I deserve to be the best. And together, all three of us will prove our worthiness in the Mayhem Tournament. So just a quick little strong babyface promo to go over their opponents and put over the big matches coming up in the Mayhem Tournament, as this gets an 83. And then we have whoa, this is actually a lot better than I thought. Wow. Shockingly good. Anyway, and about that good wrestling and decent reaction of the crowd, America's Most Wanted defeated Hart Legacy in 11:04 when James Storms pinned Teddy Hart. It says using Ray for leverage, but let's just say a beer bottle gets involved and gets whacked over Teddy Hart's head, and yeah, but back and forth, old school, not old, but new school style, back and forth, lots of moves, lots of quick pins, lots of kickouts, lots of tags, and things break down. Storm is able to hit Teddy Hart with the beer bottle and get the 1-2-3 victory, as this gets an 85. James Storm gets a 76. Chris Harris gets a 69, Jack Evans gets an 86, and Teddy Hart gets a 73. But a big win for AMW, as this gets an 85. And post-match, AMW celebrate on the ramp to the boos of the crowd, as it gets a 66. And then we have a quick promo backstage. Well, not really quick, but a decent promo backstage where Don Marie is with Tank Tolan, as Don Marie says, another week, this man will shock the world. The sexiest wrestler in WCW will prove that he's the best wrestler in WCW. He defeats Jeff Hardy in the middle of the ring and proves that I made the right choice by trying to be his manager and guiding his path to greatness. And Tank Tolan does a little hip shake as Don Marie smiles and sort of rubs his chest, as he then says, Jeff Hardy, you're looking at the man who's going to take you out. As this gets a 57, and it's time for our main event. And as is tradition, I forget to put a storyline on a main event match. Oh well. So yeah. This is really freaking good. It's Kanyon and Kaz, so it's just a back and forth, really high impact match. Kaz is hitting his kicks and his big suplexes, big nasty gut wrench and snap suplexes. Caden fights back with his own brawling and his own moves. Hits a cannon cutter, but Kaz actually gets his foot on the ropes. Kaz actually locks in the Kaz mission as well, but Cannon barely gets to the ropes. Barely pushes himself over and gets his leg barely on the bottom rope. And eventually, Ken gets the advantage, hits a cannon cutter, but then Kaz gets up, after a kick out, but Ken finishes out with the flatliner. 1, 2, 3, right in the middle of the ring to move forward in the Mayhem Tournament. As this gets 78, because again, I forgot to add a storyline on top of it. I thought this was part of a storyline, but shit happens. What can you do? But yeah, gets a 78 overall. Ken got a 92. Kaz got a 79. So this would have been probably an 86, maybe an 87 without it. But what can you do? Shit happens. And of course, post match, as is what's happening all night, which again is not something where I've started booking loosely, but also it's part of a storyline which will be continued on Nitro. Kidman comes out to attack Kanyon, but Kanyon is ready for us as Kidman attacks from behind. But as he goes for the Kid Crusher, Kanyon sort of pulls out of it, turns around because it's in a radio, reverses it, boom, Canyon Cutter lays out Kanyon. As it gets 100, as Jones just put over, this is going to be a huge match, a huge second round match between these two men. As overall, the show itself gets an 87. Okay. So, not our best shows, but still solid, fun stuff. And overall, let's see here. Teddy Long. All right. Bill Goldberg, Steve Contract. Okay. Fun stuff. Shane Helms. Okay. Jeff Jarrett thinks, you're not wrong, Jeff. You're not wrong. Shane Helms thinks Angel Fox is turning to a good worker. Okay. Sure. Okay. So, as a quick update, we did end up with only 5 predictions, which, is not the end of the world, but still solid 5 predictions. So far, through the first, round of the first round, so the first half, actually 4 people have a perfect score so far, and 1 person has 6 points, but still plenty of time and plenty of matches. And as a shout out, there is 1 person, I'm not going to call them out by name, but if you put in a prediction, double check, because you still, there's, if you forgot, 1 person did forget to put in their finals prediction. If you have done that, please, and I also did send you an email about it, to the email address you included. So please just respond to me with the person you wanted to win the finals, because you did set up a semifinals and a finals prediction, but you didn't set up an actual finals win. So just let me know who you would have chosen, because it's not clear from the name of your prediction or anything, unfortunately. But anyway, outside of that, it's now go over the other stuff in the show. Whoops. Nope. Come on. There we go. Oh, that's there. All right, sorry. So, looking over. So, first WWE had SmackDown, and it was Shaniqua defeating Jackie Gata by countout in a match for the women's title in 58. Let's see here. Rikishi and Steve Richards defeated Raven and Scott Steiner in 82. Sure. Jod brought JBL, DDP, and Hall defeated Val Venis and the Outcast in 80. We had The Undertaker winning a squash, Kurt Angle winning a squash, and then the main event, Edge and Shawn Michaels defeating Regal and Brock Lesnar, which would have been an awesome match. Edge and Brock both got 100, so that's interesting. Overall, an 87. So first, for our Dev Fed, Wildside vs. TV. Again, let's see here. Cake Rice defeated Matt Morgan in a big old slobber knocker, which got a 38. Travis Tomko and TNT defeated Adam Ortiz, Keith Walker, and Marcus Militek in a 55 rather. Let's see here. And Akabona defeated Cassidy O'Reilly for the NWA National Heavyweight title. Cassidy isn't signed, and Akabona is a random guy who's the NWA National Champion. But I want to include that because Akabona. And then in the weekly house show, we had Matt Cross defeating Matt Morgan by DQ. So I imagine this is a Matt Morgan killifies him, and then the match is turned away. Tony Jones defeated Sun Siaki in a 52. Freshman Bolo defeated Kenzo Suzuki in a tables match. Let's see here. Chance Profit defeated Keith Walker in 58. And then other matches involved people who aren't signed, so fun stuff. And then for our women's Dev Fed, we had first the weekly show, which had Beth Phoenix and the non-gay partners, which is Madison and... So yeah. And defeated Alice Nader and the Workins in 54. We had Lacey defeated Mischief in 55. We had Annie Social defeating Malenko Osaka by DQ in a 61. Kim Nielsen, aka Desire, defeated Nikki Rocks in a 67, and Sharon Melissa defeated Ariel to retain the AEW title in a 61. And then Ariel attacked Melissa. And then we had Ladies Night. We had Mischief defeating ODP in a cage match in a 45. We had Ariel and the non-gay partners defeated Madison and Mega Women in a 55. No, in a 50 rather. Malenko Osaka defeated Bonnie Maxson and Venice Harding in a 56, and Lacey defeated Alice Nader by DQ in a 63. And Sharon Melissa defeated Desire and Beth Phoenix in a 3-way for the title in a 58. So fun stuff. So then we go to HWA. For WWE's territory, we had Skinhead Ivan and Barry Badburn defeated Billy Bax and Dustin Lee. Rocky Romero and Angie Deluxe defeated Corey Castle and Alex Shelley in a 48. Russ Haas defeated Jimmy Jacobs in a 40. Logan Kane, Capitol, and Sharkboy defeated Joel Grunge and Cyber Squad in a 54. Chuck Clary defeated Excalibur in a 51. In a future AEW offer match, Ray Steele defeated Ekmo Fat 2 in a 48. And Max Striker defeated Ricky Shane Page in a cage match in a 53. And then OVW. First had their weekly loop shows, which, let's see, stuff you guys would care about. Sarah Stock defeated Chantel Taylor in a 44. Bull Buchanan defeated Shaggy 2 Dope in a match that happened in this world. We had Maven and Joey Matthews defeat Rob Conway and Donnie Dorney in 61. Homicide and Spanky defeat Trent Breaker and O'Brien. Oh, Joey Ryan. Okay, in 67. And Justice defeating Rico in a 68. And then the other loot match, you see Richie defeated Chantel Taylor to retain the OVW Davies title in a 43. Trent Breaker defeated Chemo by DQ in a 45. Maven defeated Mafia in 57. Lizzie Borden defeated Riptide in 57, Rico defeated Isaiah in 54, and Homicide and Spiky defeated the A Squad in a 63. And then for their monthly show, we had Lizzie Borden defeated Chantel Taylor in a 45, Bull Buchanan defeated Charlie Haas in a 52, Damaja defeated Steve Bradley by DQ in a 53 in a long-time Demolenko guys offer match. Rob Conway defeated Joey Matthews by DQ in a 62, Christy Ricci defeated Miss Natural in a 49. Rookie defeated Maven, and the main event, Homicide and Spiky defeated Trent Breaker and Joey Ryan in a 64. So there you go. I don't think there was anything else that happened. Let's see here. I always forget what I show you guys when I don't. NWA, nope. Anyways, just doing their tag lead. Oh, right. Noah did have a big show recently, which I'll show you the results of. So yeah, Noah had Danger Power Drive, which got a 91. Is the matches of people you guys would care about. Let's see here. Horse Boulder, yes, that Horse Boulder, defeated Jun Azumula in 57. Kenta defeated Blue Panther in a 78. Murafuji and Akira Sato defeated Tomohanga and Makoto Heishi to retain the tag titles in 75. Then for 3 big matches, yes, Jun Akiyama defeated Mr. Ganasuki, yes. Deathmatch Guy is in Noah and it got a 86. We had Kobashi and Ogawa defeated Takayama and Taue in 88. And of course, a random 95, Masawa defeated Shane Douglas. Yes, in a 95. Shane Douglas had a 4.5 star match against Masawa in 2004. What a random world we live in. But anyway, that's it. I believe. Let me double check. Yeah. AJBW didn't have anything of note that I haven't showed you guys, right? All Japan. Where are you? All Japan. Yeah, I already showed you guys this. Well, no, nothing of note happened on this. Only thing that mattered is Hayabusa defeated Kira, which should have been a fun match of mask/painted guys. And Teoke defeated Shigo Okuyama in 67. And yeah, Kawada and Kurt Hennig defeating team and the weirdest team I've seen in a while here on here. But anyway, that is it. If you like this, go ahead and give it a like. Comment below on what you're liking and not liking. And of course, subscribe to the channel for this TEW 2020 content and perhaps more stuff. It all depends. But, you know, this has been fun. And of course, we are moving forward with the actual tournament. So if we look at the tournament itself, hold on, tournaments, there we go. Round 16, we got Mike Awesome versus Brother Ray confirmed, Booker T versus to be decided, Billy Kidman versus Kanyon, and Jeff Jarrett versus Paul London. As we move on to the second round. But that's it for now. So talk to you later, and adios. Have a good one.